I never imagined that sealing my neighbor's illegal wells with concrete would uncover a sprawling HOA corruption scheme and permanently reshape the fate of my family's land. If someone told you the very people claiming to safeguard your neighborhood were secretly exploiting your property, how far would you go to stop them? The morning it all began felt just like any other. I was sipping coffee on my porch, letting the warmth of the mug and the quiet hum of early sunlight wash over me. But the peace shattered the moment I spotted a massive drilling machine rolling across the far end of my field. 3 men in hard hats walked casually over my backyard as if they owned it, one spraying orange paint lines on the earth. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, then blinked again. But they were still there. Heavy equipment, strangers right on my land. "Hey," I shouted, jogging toward them. "What do you think you're doing on my property?" The tallest one looked up, unmoved. "Drilling a well." "A well? On my land? Who gave you permission?" He casually pulled out a folded paper from his pocket. "Pine Z eats Got the paperwork right here." I snatched the documents. They had the HOA logo, and the permit looked official enough. It claimed they had rights to drill emergency wells on the eastern boundary of my 5-acre property. "This has to be a mistake. I never agreed to this." The man shrugged. "Not our issue, sir. We go where they tell us." I inherited this land from my grandfather just last year. It bordered Pine Ridge Estates, a pristine suburban development with meticulously groomed lawns and an HOA known for its rigidity. But my property predated their entire community. I never signed anything. "Pack up and leave," I told them firmly. "This is private property. That paper doesn't change that." The worker calmly pulled out his phone. "Let me call the HOA president. She'll explain." 20 minutes later, a sleek black SUV rolled up. Out stepped a woman in designer sunglasses and a navy blue pantsuit. Her stride was firm, confident, entitled. "Mr. Dorsey, I'm Helena Park, president of the Pine Ridge Estates HOA." "No handshake." No smile. "I understand there's been some confusion." "There's no confusion," I replied. "These men are trespassing. They need to leave." Her painted-on smile didn't reach her eyes. "Actually, when your grandfather sold the adjoining land to the developers a decade ago, he signed an easement agreement. During declared droughts, the HOA has legal access to the aquifer beneath your property." "I never heard about any easement," I said, heart racing. She produced another document, an easement with my grandfather's signature. It granted permission to drill one emergency well. "Just one. This says a single well," I pointed out. "Why are there markings for 3 more?" Helena waved dismissively. "The situation has escalated. Our legal team has interpreted the spirit of the easement to allow for multiple access points during severe shortages." "That's not what it says." "Then contact your attorney," she snapped. "But we're proceeding as planned. The community needs water." I stood frozen as she turned and walked away. The workers were already unloading more equipment. Something felt terribly wrong. My well worked fine. We hadn't received any emergency alert. That night, I couldn't sleep. The drilling roared under floodlights. By dawn, one well was complete, and they were drilling another. I called the county water authority. No emergency declared. Just voluntary lawn watering restrictions. This wasn't about an emergency. Later, I drove into Pine Ridge Estates. The grass there was lush. Sprinklers danced across lawns. Crews were filling the community pool. Then I saw the sign, "Coming soon, Pine Ridge Luxury Water Features and Resident Lake." I snapped a photo. My suspicions were confirmed. They were stealing water for a fake lake. Returning home, I found 3 drill teams tearing up my land. Frank Miller, a nearby homeowner, was leaning against his truck. "Nice project," he said. "You know about this?" Margaret Helena talked about it at the last meeting. Tapping the aquifer to boost property values. My blood boiled. I thanked him and called a lawyer. James Powell, a local attorney, reviewed the paperwork. "They're overreaching. The easement permits one emergency well, period. We can file an injunction. It'll take a few days, though. In the meantime, document everything." When I returned home, destruction awaited me. Torn up garden beds, broken tree roots, pipes crisscrossing the yard. I followed the pipe trail to an empty field. A new sign read, "Future site of Lakeview Mall and Entertainment Plaza." They were piping my water to sell it to developers. That night, an HOA letter arrived. Alleged violations on my property: overgrown grass, non-compliant fencing, unauthorized sheds. Thousands in potential fines. I couldn't fight with just paper. I needed something stronger. I reread the easement. It mentioned emergency drilling, but said nothing about post-drilling obligations. They had no guarantee of ongoing access. At 2 a.m., I wheeled a cement mixer to the first completed well. Mixing quietly in the moonlight, I filled the shaft with quick-set concrete, scrap metal, and rebar. I sealed 2 more wells the following nights. The 4th morning, pounding rattled my door. Helena stood outside, flanked by her lawyer and a detective. "You filled the wells with concrete. You mean my wells on my land? You'll pay for this." The HOA has invested $50,000 already. The easement permits 1 well, and I have photos of pipes leading to a commercial site. The detective frowned. "Wait, what commercial site?" "Future Mall. They're already trucking water. I've got proof." They left in a rage. But I wasn't safe yet. That night, I noticed a strange car circling. Someone was watching me. James called. "Bad news. The HOA has deep zoning connections. They've fast-tracked everything. But your photos of the mall site might tip the scales." The next day, I spotted a water tanker marked Evergreen Development filling up at one of the wells. I followed it to the mall site, snapped more photos, and sent them to James. "This is what we needed," he said. "I'm alerting environmental authorities." Helena and her lawyer showed up again, offering me $5,000 in forgiveness for all violations. "You're not even my HOA," I replied. Her smile vanished. "If you keep interfering, there will be consequences." "Are you threatening me?" "Just stating facts." That night, security guards roamed the perimeter. I couldn't finish the job until I had an idea. I called my cousin Mike. "I need a cement mixer." No questions. By dawn, he arrived. We worked methodically, filling the last remaining wells. Helena and board members appeared mid-pour. "This is vandalism." "No," I said, showing printouts of their unauthorized plans. "This is justice." Police and a county official arrived minutes later. "You're drilling without permits," the official stated. Helena tried arguing. Jason Jenkins, a board member, stammered. Then his wife, Sarah, dragged him forward. "Tell them." Jason cracked. "We faked the drought. It was all about selling water." The town exploded. Charges were filed. The HOA was suspended. Weeks later, my land was peaceful again. A neighborhood committee approached me. "We want to turn the drilled area into a conservation preserve," they said. We drafted a conservation easement. My land remained mine, but the wells were memorialized with plaques warning against corruption. The county installed a water conservation center. They named it after my grandfather. As I watched kids planting wildflowers around the capped wells, a reporter asked for my story. Helena sped by in her SUV, now exiled from the community. Sarah Jenkins shook her head. She never understood. This was never about fountains or malls. It was about respect. At sunset, the mayor handed me a key to the new information kiosk. "Sometimes," he said, "it only takes one person standing firm to protect what truly matters." As I walked the new nature path curving around my land, I saw a handmade sign. "Thank you for teaching us the difference between taking and sharing." I smiled. Sometimes you have to seal something closed to open what really matters.